What's going on, you guys? Jay here and welcome back to the channel. So it's finally Friday. I hope you guys have got interesting things lined up for this weekend. I'm hoping it's going to be sunny in the UK. It's looking a bit uncertain, but hopefully I'm going to get out, touch some grass and maybe do a little bit of fishing as we go into the summer months. It's looking really positive from what I was looking at late last night. Looking at things this morning, we've got a possible deal coming in with China. But something else that's really caught my eye at the moment is these Blackrock tweets that have been rolling out on X. And my personal perspective with X is it can be very positive or it can be very dangerous. But what we always see on X is very simple posts like this, really just preying on the FOMO in people, the clickbait, if you will, just trying to search for clicks, follow the algorithm. And this becomes quite dangerous because it starts to sow these negative or fake, if you will, narratives into our ecosystem. And what we really need is people to focus on Terra Classic as a blockchain, the technology it has to offer, the positions that are available. If you're willing to build a future, if you're sick of sitting on the sidelines, you can actually come to Terra Classic. And it's not like this on many chains. You can't go to XRP and become a validator. That's a chosen set. It's very hard to become a validator on Solana. And there's more chains out there that are very similar to ours that you simply wouldn't have those same opportunities with. Now, Luna Classic is highly underrated and undervalued. I'm going to be doing a video on that and really going into what LUNC has to offer, how you can make the most money out of the ecosystem, and the reason why all of these validators have worked so diligently to accumulate lots of LUNC so they become high up validators, because the returns are quite serious. And if you're accumulating for those bigger pumps, well, it's going to play off big time. But like I said, there's not many chains out there that you can come to. We should really begin to focus on the technology, getting on a bit of a side tangent there, if you will. At face value, these posts can look very positive for the ecosystem. And I don't want to be the Karen in the room, if you will, but I'm kind of going to be the Karen in the room at this point. They are baseless. They don't have any official backing. And it seems like a false narrative that's being spun up. And when I say things like this can get exponentially out of control, they really can. We have to be very careful, because if we do see a massive pump from something like this, well, then we're going to see a massive dump when people really start to do their own research. They wonder why their bag's not going up any further, why BlackRock hasn't tweeted. You know how this route goes. But it's not just this one account. This was being done by multiple accounts. And I think it originated around the 11th of April this month. And there was a few that got on board. And again, a lot of people in the comment section who are saying to me, well, Jay, what's going on with BlackRock and LUNC? Are they going to acquire their chain? How will that look? And is there any information out there? And what I always do is try to give you guys the tools, if you will, to go out and really do your own research. And the best thing that I normally do in these circumstances is actually go to Google Trends or something equivalent, and then I start to search for the term BlackRock on a worldwide basis. We look at the past day, we look at the past 30 days, and we see where that peaked out. And then what we can do is see that at 30 days there's not any data and not enough to even show a graph. But if we go to the past day, we're seeing blips coming up. So we can see the 16th of April, absolutely nothing. And then seeing a blip of 100 coming in on the 17th of April. And you've got to understand these data centers, they will have a slight delay on the production of this information. And if we just quickly flick back now, we can actually correlate that, seeing that Haley's tweet going out on the 14th, and then seeing Crypto Anu as well going out on the 16th. And then if we just flick back just quickly to Google Trends, and then we set that again for the past 7 days, we can see those blips coming in for Haley as well. So we do need to understand that these narratives, they're good to a certain extent. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to be the Karen all of the time. I really don't. But the idea that LUNC needs to rely on false narratives or lies or deception or fraud, because it doesn't. It has a lot of tools that are regularly available to you, the community, inside and outside of Terra Classic. On top of that, there's high gains to be made in returns, commission based. If you've got coins that are just sat there on a CX doing nothing, well, you could be earning on those coins. And that's a big reason why a lot of people hang around. Binance burn each and every month. They just did their quarterly BNB burn, and I put under that straight away, they only do this for BNB and LUNC. And the biggest difference between the two is, well, they burn LUNC absolutely every month. We are very privileged, but something that some of you might grasp, some of you might not grasp, and I want to throw this in, is we're DeFi, we're decentralized. And DeFi in itself, the validation, the blockchain, the way that we have risen this chain back up, we are not subject to these network interruptions. Binance, KuCoin, MEXC all went down. They all had to halt trading. This would have been substantial for them. They would have lost a lot of revenue during that time. For us, a network interruption would come in the form of a chain halt, and that has only ever happened when we've needed to do an official upgrade. So when I say we've got a lot to offer as an ecosystem, we've got a lot to offer. And if I was to walk down this route of putting on a tinfoil hat and saying, well, what would BlackRock really find interesting about our ecosystem? And my answer is absolutely everything. The future of cryptocurrency is essentially going to be DeFi. And I keep saying to people, it's going to be like Nassau. And the reason why I'm saying this is regulation's coming in thick, it's coming in fast, stability is on the horizon. And with that being said, volatility has to go somewhere, and it's going to go into DeFi. It is going to be the place where you can go and build without someone gatekeeping and saying to you, well, what do you actually have to offer? You haven't got any money. Oh, you haven't got any funds. It's our chain has no discrimination. It doesn't judge you. It just accepts you for whoever you are, good or bad. And on top of that, we are not subject to these Amazon Web Service shutdowns. This is a situation where the network is comprised of 110 validators, and in order for the network to halt and go down, you would need to coordinate a serious attack on nearly, I think it's, I want to say it can run on 32 to 35% of the consensus. But anyway, like drawing this out, throw an explanation on top of explanation here. Let's get on to the tinfoil stuff. Let's get on to the hat and really think about if they were, right? If they were really interested in our ecosystem, well, I look at the Genius Stablecoin Act and what they are boasting on the understanding of DeFi itself. This is all stuff that is very valuable in the norm, the area outside of crypto, and that is the accessibility of data that's affordable, that's real time, and DeFi offers all of that. You can use and utilize many different outlets for that real time data, and it costs you absolutely nothing because there's builders out there that are committed to really bringing you what you need to traverse the ecosystem, because we're all very committed to the idea of blockchain technology building in this new future. So when I say we've got a lot to offer, we have got a lot to offer. Does that mean BlackRock would specifically target LUNC? Absolutely not, but it would definitely be a candidate if they were going to, because essentially they would look at the ecosystem and say, well, look, all of this technology works great. They've got a committed community, they've got all of these people building, they've got a wallet that's native, they've got third-party wallets, they've got support on the entire cosmos. We could go in, we could create a validator just like KuCoin did. We could become a top 10 validator, and then we could start to have say and have sway. We could start to maybe convince that ecosystem to let us take control and start to use and utilize that technology, because the technology is built, it already exists, and they can become part of this growing ecosystem. It is probably a billion in one chance that that would ever happen. But again, if I was to walk the route of putting a tinfoil hat on, it would definitely be the technology. It wouldn't be the idea that they could take over this chain. It would be essentially so they could run an operation, so they could run a business and have it unhindered. Effectively, they could run a not-for-profit, and they could have the validator, they could maybe use and utilize it to do donations or to some way boost up their own existing empire. It's not out of the question. This is crypto, and again, like I've been saying, DeFi has a lot to offer: the reliability, the accessibility, the decentralized layer, and the ability to really do whatever you want. That in itself is very powerful. That was what the American Dream, I believe, from what people are explaining to me in the United States, people were really empowered to travel to the USA, to carve out a life from a flyer, traveling across seas, mountains. It's crazy, but again, it's powerful, it's motivating, and you can see that if you offer the idea of the American dream inside crypto, you're going to captivate a lot of people. And I think that's why Solana does so well, being a utility chain with all of the tools. And LUNC is becoming this chain with a lot of utility, with a lot of dApps. Anyway, I could talk on about this for ages. We're going to have to start doing live streams again. I really miss having that one-to-one connection. It's nice being back in the office. But look, more content coming today. Price updates coming out later. And yeah, we'll just keep chipping away at it. We'll keep you up to date. We'll try separate the nonsense from what's real and what we should focus on. But again, going to be a Karen, but we can have fun. We can put the tinfoil hat on. We can traverse all of these crazy ideas. Anything is possible. But look, guys, stay safe, stay humble. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment on the way out. Let me know what you're doing this week, and stay safe, and I'll catch you in the next one.